Hello, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. In this video today, I was going to talk a little bit about sitting with stillness and sitting in quiet. And I think that's something that most of us don't do these days. If you think that the world really is completely now on all the time, there is no off button. 24/7, you can go shopping, both online and lots of stores are open 24 hours a day, supermarkets. But certainly online, you can buy things whenever you want. Television, you can watch programs whenever you want. No longer it's a case of, oh, we have to sit down at 8 o'clock to watch this show. If you're there when it's on, that's fine. But actually, in reality, probably most people now don't watch TV when it's actually happening. Most of us probably watch it on catch up or iPlayer or whatever it is. We don't actually watch things as they're happening at the time. And while that has a lot of benefits, obviously, it means we can, schedule things to suit ourselves. But it also means that there is no clear-cut times when things are on and things are off. And it's the same for work now. I suppose even aggravated more by the COVID situation where most people ended up working from home and as such now have all the facilities at home to access their work emails and do all the things they probably would have to have done previously by going into an office, now have access to that all the time. So it means you can be checking your work situation well out with your normal work hours. And while that might be good on the surface level for companies, it's certainly not very good as an individual if there's not that clear-cut line of, actually, that's me, I've now switched off my computer and that's me done for the day or for the weekend or for whatever the time frame might be. There is no clear-cut time now where everything stops. You think even maybe the only day of the year that everything's shut is Christmas Day, and even then, not everything's shut. There's still some stores that are open. But everything's available. There is no clear-cut time where things turn off. And as such, there's no clear-cut time where we turn off. Even when you're getting ready to go to your bed, often the last thing most people do before they go to sleep is check their phone, check Facebook, check TikTok, check Instagram, whatever your thing is, or even checking your work emails to see if there's things that people have responded to you. And again, because everyone works internationally now, both probably socially and work-wise, when we're supposedly sleeping, people in other countries are at their work, so the messages will be coming through from them. And we now have the option of checking them as they come rather than having to wait until we go back into the office or have to sign back in. These things are available all the time. So as a result, we don't actually switch off. And the consequence of that is that our lives are always on, which means our brains are always on, which means we're really not getting time for that rest and digest, rest and restore phase to happen, because there is no off. Even when you think, oh, that's it, I'm going to go and sit down for 5 minutes and catch my breath. What do most people do when they sit down for 5 minutes to catch their breath? They'll check their phones. There's very few folk who will sit and quietly notice what's going on, or sit with their thoughts, or just notice what's happening in the world without doing it through a device. Most of us will do, oh, just get 5 minutes to catch up or catch my breath, but that'll involve on a phone. And you see, even when we're out and about, people are waiting for a bus. I see it from picking the children up from school. If you're sitting waiting, most people, when they're waiting to pick their kids up from school, now if they're not talking to somebody, they'll be on their phone. If they're waiting to get picked up or something, on the phone checking the device. So there is no off. So we never sit and just be. So even when you think you're doing nothing, even when we criticize our children for doing nothing, actually we're never doing nothing these days. And actually what we need to be doing is a bit more nothing. Because the problem is that although we think we're doing nothing, we're actually not. We're actually providing this constant stimulation, this dopamine hit, this more and more information into the brain, and most of it isn't good. What we actually need to be doing is spending time doing nothing, spending time being, and just noticing what's going on round about us, noticing not, noticing the noise outside, noticing the birds chirping, noticing how we're feeling in ourselves, noticing what comes up in our minds when we just sit and be. Because often the reason we don't like doing it, apart from the fact that we're not used to it now, is because when we do take that time to sit, all these things, all these feelings, all these emotions that actually the rest of the time we can keep at bay come out. And that's not comfortable for most of us now because we're just not used to doing that. So we're not processing these things. And they're constantly getting pushed down, pushed down, pushed down, not getting resolved, not getting the chance to surface. And then that's when we see that actually we're getting an increase in stress-related problems like persistent pain, like IBS, like functional disorders, like anxiety issues. And that's because we don't have this time of off. There is no off. There is no recharging. It's constant. It's constant. Even if you wake up during the night, even if your sleep's disturbed, which is more likely to be because you're not having quiet time, you can check your phone. So even then, when you wake up in the middle of the night, oh, I'll just check that, which is then giving you more stimulation, more stimulation, more stimulation. And it becomes like an addiction, and we become in this constant cycle of we need more, we need it, we need it, we need it. And that's what we look to. And I know myself, if I'm feeling a bit stressed, actually what I'll do is I'll spend more time scrolling through nonsense that is of no interest to me. And actually what I need to do is go and sit quietly and take time just to be still and quiet and just notice that stillness and the quietness. But for the most part, our brains don't really want us to do that because that's going to bring up things that we don't really want to deal with that are really quite scary for the brain. And as we said before, the brain doesn't like that. And if it possibly can distract us from that, it will. And what better way than this 24/7 culture that we live in? So I'm not saying we should be sitting for hours and ends, chanting, going on retreats. If that's what works for you, that's great. But that's probably not feasible for most people these days to take that amount of time away. But look at your day-to-day life and how could you just take 5 minutes? So that 5 minutes where you think, oh, I'm just going to sit down and catch my breath for 5 minutes, out pops the phone and you start scrolling. What if you didn't do that? What if in that 5 minutes you just sat? How would that look? How would that feel for you? So you might be just sitting with your coffee or sitting with whatever it is you've got and you're just sitting there for 5 minutes. So I would challenge you to try it and see how it feels. And if it feels really uncomfortable for you, then that, shows you just how much we need to do it. And if it isn't that uncomfortable for you, then great. There we go. 5 minutes. What have you lost by not scrolling your phone? Probably nothing, really. In reality, probably not lost anything. And what have you gained? You've gained 5 minutes of actual peace. 5 minutes to actually, literally catch your breath, rather than 5 more minutes of overstimulating your brain with a lot of nonsense that we don't need to know. So that's my challenge for you. Let's see if you can try 5 minutes of just sitting, not talking, not looking, not scrolling, no screens, not doing anything. Try not to be doing anything else when you're not writing, not doing anything. It's 5 minutes of stillness and just sit with it. Just sit with it and see what happens. See what you notice and see how you can incorporate that into your day. Okay, just 5 minutes and see what goes on. I'd love to hear how you got on with that. So just send me a message and let me know what that feels like for you. What do you notice? What does it feel like to just sit still, doing nothing for 5 minutes? See what comes up for you. I'd love to hear about it. So do let me know. And I'll leave you at that for now. And I'll speak to you soon. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.